Well, we're back again, and we're back here on another Pain Toolkit conversation. I've got my good buddies here from all around the world, and I'm new.
Hmm.
So, anyway, we've got a fantastic topic for tonight, and it's about success, building on success, or build success. And so, I'm really looking forward to, delving into that a little bit more. And so, without further ado, can we just whiz around the screen to just people give introduce yourself, a little bit, just short explanation on what you do, just for the people watching and listening on the audio version. So I'm gonna start off with you, Bronnie, as you're on my eye line there.
Hmm.
At the bottom of the world.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
yeah, we are down under, even though the Australians take that word and they describe themselves as down under, Kiwis too are down under. And
Hmm.
I'm in Christchurch, New Zealand, where it's a stunningly beautiful summer day. And I'm a postgraduate educator and I write the blog Health Skills and I live with fibromyalgia. And yeah, it's a thing.
Thanks. I'll drop down one to you, Susan.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Sue. I'm up over. The opposite of down under. No, I live on the very west coast of Canada, Vancouver Island, and it's a beautiful, sunny winter day here. So yeah, we're waiting for the cold and the rain, but it'll come. And I'm an occupational therapist, and I am very passionate about working with people with chronic pain. They're some of the best people I've ever met. So I'm excited to hear about their successes today.
Okay, and I'll drop down one to good friend over there in Colorado. Hey Joe, I'm being very gentlemanly like tonight, so I'll introducing the young ladies first, and then we'll go on to the guys. So okay,
You're always quite the gentleman, Pete. So I'm Joe Belton. I mean, sometimes. I'm Joe Belton. I'm in the mountains of Colorado, where we have a distressing lack of snowpack this year, and hopefully it won't be a terrifying summer. I am in this world from the lived experience of pain. I got hurt back in 2010, which seems like forever ago now, another lifetime ago now, when I was a firefighter paramedic, and have been on a path towards patient and pain advocacy and activism as a result of my experiences in the workers' compensation system in particular. I've also dealt with other health stuff in the interim as well, including fibroids, which I had a hysterectomy for 5 years ago, breast cancer, which I was diagnosed with a year and a half ago and had a few surgeries. I broke my hand at the end of last year. So I have been accruing lived experiences, even though I feel like I should be done now. Like I don't want to accrue anymore.
Hmm.
Uh, but so that's what I do now. I'm in the advocacy and activism space and work as a patient partner with a number of different research labs and researchers around the world. And I am still on IASP's GAPA, the Global Alliance of Partners for Pain Advocacy, of which I was a founding co-chair for, and now I'm serving as past co-chair. And I am also the patient and public partnerships editor at the Journal of Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy. No, something like that.
Something like that.
JOSPT.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's me.
thanks Joe. I'll do a sharp left to our buddy over there in America there, Tom. In
Hi,
King.
hi. I'm Tom Bowen. Thank you again for having me back here, Pete. I'm in the kind of the heartbread, the heart of America in state of Iowa. So my whole story began in 2009 with pain after surgery, and my lived experience is still living with that pain,
Hmm.
but learning how to champion it, and that's the result of my group and my name of my uh, work is Chronic Pain Champions. Um, and what I've learned is through pain rehabilitation, working with fine occupational therapists and
Yay.
other healthcare professionals uh, to champion pain, just think about it differently and manage it differently, take control. So that is my story. And since attending pain rehabilitation program, I've changed my focus from being a pain patient to being a pain educator and advocate. So I've written articles, have a free ebook, have a website, um, and some more exciting things to come about. I've been involved in educational projects with healthcare professionals. So just things, any way I can do, any way I can help others living with chronic pain shorten their journeys and make their journeys easier.
Thanks, Tom. And my partner in crime, Keith.
Aha. Hi, everyone. Thanks for everybody for joining us today. Keith Meldrum. I'm also from the west coast of British Columbia, not as far as Sue. I'm in the southern interior in Kelowna. This is a semi-arid. We have a desert just about 200 kilometers south of me, or 150 kilometers south of me. So um, I'm a retired civil engineer technologist. Spent also about 10 years in the fire service, but unlike Joe, I was never allowed on the ground. They kept me tied behind a desk, which was probably the safest thing for everybody, as a chief officer. And I like others, like Joe and like Pete. My experience comes from living with pain, and I'm coming up to 40 years in August, and I don't know when that happened. So I had pain from a car accident, near fatal car accident in '86, and then 2021 I was diagnosed with mitochondrial disease, which offers, in addition to other symptoms, pain. So kind of feeling a little bit like Joe, starting to check off boxes here, and I think enough is enough. So, but here, and Pete's going to jump into this, but here we're to talk about success, because all of us here in this advocacy world, we get a little tired, we get a little beat up, we get a little disillusioned, and we need to remind ourselves that there's a lot of good going on. And it's people in this virtual room and others who couldn't make it with us today who have lots of success to share. So.
Yeah, for me, what does this actually mean? Success builds success, and I think for me, it's in a pain self-management game. It seems to be successes aren't huge stuff. It's sort of, in actual fact, some of it's quite invisible, like, because you may have a conversation with someone and you're thinking, well, that didn't work out well, but then you find out perhaps a few months later or even years later, they've perhaps that seed we've sown is finally grown from a seed into a plant and then into a tree. And but for me, I think it builds my confidence, and it's I think both learning to manage pain and long-term conditions, these little successes. Funny, I've noticed it in recent months actually, with my exercises and stuff like that, and I shock myself sometimes that what I'm actually doing now. I'm a bit of an old boy now, and in my early 70s, and I'm I'm sort of seem to be uh, doing being fitter than I was back in the day, like, and to me it's a confidence thing, like, and when I think of myself, hey, look what I'm doing now, then I think to myself, do you know what, I've done that, perhaps I can do some, it pushes me on to do something else, like, and I think when I started off in with I've been involved in self-management since the mid 80s. And again, that was for another health condition and another long-term health condition. And it's like that, when I went into another self-management program, and I was pretty much a wreck, like, and but they just kept saying, keep coming back, it gets better, like, and it did, and it does. And I think the more I got involved with self-management for that health condition, and from back in the mid 90s with pain, the more I got involved, the more successful I was. And I think it's been pretty much part of my life now, really. I get fed up. I moan a lot to Keith about, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? When we're trying to promote events and information and whatnot. I think we've had a chat as well, haven't we, Tom? We get frustrated that we think, why aren't these healthcare professionals sharing our posts like. And I get a bit frustrated with all that stuff but I have to sort of remember that perhaps they're not where we are because I think all those guys here today, we're successful people. And that's end of because for us to do what we do and where we are in life, etc., we are on track, and we have to remember that. And our primary purpose is to pass the message on, really, for other people, for whatever means we can do. And so it's building on sometimes the big successes is great. We all want to win a lottery, don't we, or something like that, don't we, Bronnie?
Haven't managed that yet.
Bloody
Still
lottery.
trying.
Let's calm down a minute. But I run some other numbers on the lottery. I'd actually, they come up here, oh, you're a winner. And I'm thinking, well, great. I won £7.30. But to me, that's two cappuccinos. So, but to me, a win's a win, and I'll take that any day. So I think with pain supported self-management, it's we have to acknowledge the small wins as well as the big wins that come along. And I think sometimes it's a slow burner in what we do, because I think people and people living with pain and also healthcare professionals, they get anchored into that medical model or whatever, and it's sort of where they're sort of walking around feels like they're walking around in porridge or something. But I know what we do is a successful concept. It is now. I think it's becoming. It will be. Perhaps not in my working lifetime, but I know in a few years' time even more. But I feel supported self-management now is becoming really a big part of healthcare. And I'll finish on this. I always remember weekends. I don't go down the gym on a Sunday, a Saturday, Sunday. But I remember it might have been about 3 or 4 years ago. I was I just put have a cup of tea and I'm mucking around on the phone. I'll put supported self-management into Google and see what comes up. Well, lo and behold, bloody comes the NHS have got an actual dedicated a whole chunk of their site to supported self-management. And I'm thinking, wow, and that really put a lot of wind in my sails, so in our National Health Service, they've recognised that supported self-management is a part of healthcare. And I think really it's using that as a little bit of a lever to say, hey, look who's using supported self-management. But I think that a lot of healthcare professionals get anchored into the medical model, and I think it's they get it's comfy, becomes a little bit comfy for them. Well, this is what I was taught. I've got to do this stuff there. Hey, I've got to talk to people, and it's not their fault. They just haven't had the skills, perhaps the confidence, etc. And again, success builds success. But the main thing around that is the confidence thing. I've always been a big fan of Albert Bandura. When I worked in the NHS, he was we talked a lot about his work, etc., about self-efficacy and stuff. And he talks about success as well, but to get that success and improve our self-efficacy, we have to have the confidence, and albeit from whether it was a big one or big success or a little success. So Anyway, I'm going to hand over to you guys there. So if you can share what success creates more success, I'd like to hear your experiences.
Mhm.
Can I talk being old? So I've been in this pain management game for quite a long time. And when I first, so my pain started in my early 20s. Well, actually, it started earlier than that, but I finally got a name. You've got chronic pain in my early 20s. And at that time, I was apparently too good to receive support for my self-management. So I had to learn it myself. That's over 40 years ago, which is a bit scary. Now, I think there is much more awareness that skills help. I mean, we can complain all we like, and we will. And I will step on every soapbox there is to say structurally, educationally, there's a whole lot that isn't working. But it's far easier to locate information that can help you as an individual begin to do things for yourself, to live with your pain or what other health conditions you have. That's fantastic. I also see not as many people receiving 15 surgeries, repeated surgeries. I don't see as many people having really unhelpful medications. I don't see as many people being told that, well, because I can't see anything on your scan, clearly you're malingering, faking, just lazy actually, need to get a kick up the bum, and therefore, or you're mentally unwell. So I'm seeing a lot of those shifts. Those are big, because that was where, when I started working in the field, that was what we heard repeatedly. Now, we still hear it, but that is not as common. And we've got a long, long way to go, but at least it's not as common. So some of the really cool positives that I've seen, so my undergrad pain teaching for undergrad medical practitioners, medical students, that's embedded in the curriculum from the beginning. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is really such a shift, because pain's everywhere. And if all you learn as an undergrad health professional is these are the neurobiological structures, and you forget or you never hear about the person, then you're not going to think, how can I help this person? You're going to think there's a sore shoulder there. I'll do some blood tests. I'll do an image and I'll find out what's wrong and I'll go fix it. So I think that's a really lovely shift. I think there's a lot more involvement of people who live with pain, and we have been part of that. And I'm, when I can read in Journal of Orthopedic and Sports Physiotherapy, physical therapy, Giletta's work featured, not just nestled in the back, but there. Now, that's an enormous shift. That would never have happened 10, 15 years ago. That's awesome. And that's because, first of all, Joe's an awesome person, but also we as a group have been able to connect with those writers, those researchers, those educators, the people who are putting that stuff into journals. And we have, again, a long way to go. The New Zealand Pain Society meeting in the end of March has people living with pain speaking as part of the program, not shunted off into, like we had at one event, trek 10 minutes down this long hallway to find the room that finally had people living with pain talking. No, but part of, okay, we could still bring and elevate the voices of people who live with pain to be upfront and centre. And this is a plea to any health or pain society to really consider how many members, clinicians, researchers, policy people also live with pain. Let's cut this idea that people like me and us are different and therefore other. We're just woven all the way through there. It's just that part of who we are hasn't really been elevated. So I see that as a huge shift that is really positive. In our research, I'll just do one more example. In our research, we're looking at pain for people going through minor gynecological procedures. We have people who live with pain integrated into our program. They are there helping us shape what it is that we're developing and how we're developing, and making sure that it's not just what clinicians think is a jolly good thing, but for people who live with pain to be able to make choices for themselves. Okay, some places it's a little bit of a tick box, but it is beginning to emerge. And the work that Keith has been doing, particularly with the North of Canadian groups, that outstanding. We're getting a bigger voice. That doesn't always translate to everyday clinical practice, because there's lots of things that influence what happens in a clinic room between a clinician and a person with pain. Not all of those things are knowledge, because we know that knowledge or information doesn't change behavior. That's a really old saying. Bill Fordyce, who is one of the most amazing people who influenced pain, said that information is to behavior change as spaghetti is to a brick.
Yeah.
It doesn't change it, right? It might splatter, but it's not going to change the brick, and it's not going to move the brick.
Yeah.
But you kind of need a bit of knowledge as well, but just not info dumping. So we've got the beginnings of more knowledge. Now we need those other things around to bring it so that it's easier for a clinician to do stuff that is helpful. Now, that only happens when we get involved, and as we have done. So we're getting there, guys. I'm pretty excited, actually. I'm still grumpy, and I will stand on every soapbox, but we couldn't have sort of put a tick by all of those activities 10, 15 years ago. I know, because I've been there. End of rant.
That's great insight. No, it's good to be able to look back and realize that we have made progress, right? Because we get lost in the minutiae. So yeah.
I love the spaghetti to a brick. In fact, I just speaking of teaching, I just 2 weeks ago taught the University of British Columbia OTs, and I had that as a slide. I always have it. Almost every presentation I do, I give a slide on that, and I actually had it as a question because I'm like for their exam, because like this is important. Yeah, it's a really important concept. Yeah, we can't just talk at people, right? Or be talked to.
Yeah, that applies to information to clinicians as well. And we've got lots of research showing that you can give as much information to people unless they actually know the how to, the so what, and this is how, and they're supported to do that. Just like people who live with pain, we need that partnership to be able to step forward. And I think that is beginning to happen. Maybe not before I retire, but who knows?
I guess that's why we see, that speaks to these terms that we see now, where they speak of knowledge mobilization and knowledge translation, where it's operationalizing all of this. Because you can say to somebody, here's the information, but without actually teaching them or showing them what to do with it, it's spaghetti on a brick. I love that. I'd never heard that before.
Well, Bill Fordyce is so good. But I mean, it just makes sense. Like I don't know if you remember Keith, and you probably don't, so you can just pretend that you do.
Okay, I remember like it was yesterday. So
right? Well, you tell the story then. No, I will.
Go ahead.
I'll go ahead. It was at the very first Pacific Pain Forum, and I'd been asked to do a talk there. And I kind of did the talk that I've been giving over the years to people in pain. I used to work at a tertiary pain program. And the very first step in the program is they would come to see come to hear a talk about pain education. Well, I always wanted to leave them with something. So I started a talk called Experiential Pain Education. So I did that at the Pacific Pain Forum, and people love it because they get it. It's embedded into them. They walk away with not just, oh, what did she say? It's like, what did I do? And it was to this day was the talk that I get requested the most for, because I think it really resonates with people. And like you said, Bronnie, we have to sort of understand on a more body language, body level for that. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, behavior, I love that. Spaghetti to a brick.
Yeah.
It's so good. So good. Speaking of education, I do have my background I chose today for the Olympics, thinking it's global and whatnot, but maybe it's because we're certainly Bronnie talking very high level things, which is great. Pulling out and looking at the history. When I started that pain talk at the pain program, it was about 15, 16 years ago now, and everyone said, I'm just here for a shot. Do I have to listen to this? I'm just here for a shot. And so I would eventually, before, because I did it twice a week, so I say, who's here just here for a shot? You know? And I did that talk to over 10,000 people. It was over 10 years. And a
Wow.
lot of people initially just there for a shot. So I had to sort of, work with that and with beliefs and whatnot. But it took a little bit of time. And the thing was with the clinicians, I had to change the GPs' minds because they were the ones referring. Because the GP's like, I don't know why you have to go to this. I don't understand. And then near the end, before I left, people were like, here, no, I'm just here for the education. Actually, I don't think I need a shot. And I was like, that's huge. And I thank you, Bronnie, for talking of that sort of history part, because that really really motivated me. And another success is doing the teaching at UBC is that when I first started about 10 years ago, nobody had done a pain placement. Nobody was really interested in getting into it. And the class was about 55 people. Now the class is 120, which is great. But not only that, my one-day talk has expanded, not a lot, but into 2 days because the students asked for it. They said, we need more of this.
Oh,
So, and I've
Nice.
always said I can do a semester, I can do a week. They were like, they said, how much time do you need? I said, how much can you give me? But yeah, and so I love that. And when I say now, who here wants to work in the field of chronic pain? There's at least a quarter of the people that do, and many have done placements. So yeah, I think it's sort of getting out there, and I think clinicians are realizing it's a fantastic field. Really, and I think it's mostly the people, certainly the people with pain, but also the people, the clinicians who work in it as well, who may also have lived experience. Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Look
But
at all
thank
the
you again for that
positives.
high level thought. I wasn't thinking of those ones, and those ones are really, yeah, in my work has been great.
good stuff.
Tom, Joey is you gotta have something positive to share. We're good at throwing shit at the wall. What's the good stuff? So
It was spaghetti.
uh,
Spaghetti.
Joe, go ahead. I'll let you take the lead.
Okay. Well, and I had a couple things, but this just the conversation has me thinking of other things because Ronnie, I think I met you 11 years ago in San Diego. And Keith and Pete, we were just talking about this last week when we chatted to do our video. Like we've known each other now for probably 8 or so years online, in person. We were all together in Boston when we had to go
Yeah.
down find the freaking arrows on the floor and go back into the deep dark corner to find the lived experience stuff. But we all found each other
We
somehow.
did. Yeah.
And that we're all still here having conversations and doing this stuff, I think is a huge success,
Yeah.
and also shows just the power of peers across title lines and role lines and all of that sort of thing. And I think that's pretty awesome. And then to see how far, together we have pushed the field of pain
Yeah.
to embracing, integrating lived experience into the work of pain, whether that's research or education or treatment development or guideline development. We've all played a huge role in that. And Pete, you were an OG in this space when it comes to patient advocacy and
Yeah.
really being at the forefront, and you're the shoulders that we're all standing on when it comes to being
Yeah.
able to do this work. So appreciate you laying all that groundwork that we didn't have to do, and continuing to build more groundwork, because the frigging groundwork never seems to be done. But we're doing it, and we do have successes. And I think that Keith, you could probably back me up on this. We just had a meeting with GAPA last week, and the meetings are going really, really well. So after a couple years of disillusionment and disenfranchisement, I think that we're back on track now with GAPA and the Global Alliance of Partners for Pain Advocacy, and everyone that is involved in integrating lived experience into the work of pain. I think that's really going to be moving forward, and something that I'm really excited about. Another big win, it's not one that's going to be like well known or anything, and Keith knows about this, but I just talked to a woman at the University of Toronto who just defended her PhD successfully, and me and her had a conversation like 3 or 4 years ago. It was a while ago, about the work that she was going to do at the intersections of Alzheimer's and chronic pain. And she works in a basic science lab and with animal models, and the way that her direction that her research was going to go, I was honest with her and didn't think that it was going to have any practical application at the end of it. That what she was hoping for wouldn't actually lead to any treatment or a successful thing in real lives of people living with pain and Alzheimer's. And in this conversation that we just had, she said that totally changed the direction of her thesis in the PhD work that she did, and that she always comes back to that question now, that even as a basic scientist working with animal models, will this ever be able to translate in the end to real people living with pain or Alzheimer's or both? And I just thought, like, what a friggin' huge win is that? Like, what a huge win that is. And I wonder how many other conversations we have all had with people that just changed their thinking just that little bit, that changed the course of their research, that can have that much more of a meaningful impact on the real lives of people living with pain down the line. So I thought that was a huge win and success. So one of the things I keep advocating for is people not just writing up the research that they do with patient partners or people with lived experience, because a lot of the outcomes of that research is shared, and they'll share that people with lived experience were involved, but they don't ever share how the people with lived experience changed the research, or what that process was like, or that integration was like, what the challenges were, what the successes were, all of that kind of stuff. So I asked Laura if she'd be willing to do a manuscript where we could start to talk about that, and then bring in other people who have worked with patient partners as well, where they can share how working with patient partners or lived experience partners actually changed their work. And I think that we need that. And so I keep saying to people, like, do it. And so since no one's doing it, we're just going to freaking do it.
All right.
So that's going to be a future success. But I thought that was a huge success. And then, as I mentioned when I did my intro, I've had a lot of surgeries. None of them repeat. They're all new. They're all for different things. I've had like 10, I've had 4 in the last 4 years. But it was funny. So I started working with PhD student now that's working with Jan Vollert. Her name's Lydia Roper, and she's absolutely amazing. Keep your eye out for her. And her PhD is in post-surgical pain. And so I had worked with her. It was just published today. Kind of a scoping review on, not a scoping review, a prospective cohort study on post-surgical pain and like global satisfaction markers and PROMs and all that kind of stuff. So I came in as a patient partner in that work, which was really cool. And it's based on previous work that was also done with patient partners. So really good research team that's doing this stuff. So got to influence the paper a bit. And then while that was like about a week or maybe a month after our last conversation I had with her for this paper, I broke my hand. So I emailed her and I'm like, if you'd like to do some real time experience work, like we can talk about the post-surgical pain stuff in real time. So got to have some conversations with her and Jan in real time after my surgery. Like I'm really taking this lived experience partner thing to the nth degree.
Yes.
But so that's another success, and that just it's in press, so it's not like fully published yet, but it's online and available, and it's open access. And that came out today. So another successful patient partner experience, and some real time. Might as well have a surgery since I'm working with a post surgical pain PhD student.
You're a little over dedicated there, Joe. So you're taking one for the team a little too far.
Boundaries, Joe, boundaries.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We don't have them really, do we?
No, it'd be nice.
Cool. Yes, I just downloaded that paper. I'm going to read it later. So.
Me too. Thank you for that. Yeah. There's some good work and were you part of that, Keith, the work that was done for Pain Canada with the pre and post surgery? No, okay. Yeah,
No.
Pain Canada's got a good pre and post surgery education bit.
Right.
I don't know if you know, I can't think of Alyssa's last name, but she worked on it, and a lot of good people worked on it.
Good stuff. Yeah.
It's important.
Another win that came out of the GAPA meeting too. So we were talking about how like more journals are encouraging and embracing people with lived experience as authors. So Pain, IASP's journal, it has a call out for artists living with pain to submit artwork for the September cover of Pain.
Yeah.
So I'll put the submission thing in here too, in case anyone.
Yeah. That's really
It's
cool.
super exciting because we've got some fantastic artists that are just right there and absolutely lovely, fabulous.
Yeah.
So shit's happening. Oh, sorry, I swore again. I'm always gonna swear on these.
I already did. I beat you to it. Sorry.
And it's good to remind ourselves that shit's happening. So.
Yeah.
Love
Tom.
Well, I'll be glad to share hopefully some success.
All right.
For me,
I thought you were going to say share some shit, Tom.
Put another $1 in the jar, Joe. Another $1 in the jar. For me, success was a big part of my recovery, and seeing success. And I was blessed to attend the Mayo Clinic Pain Rehabilitation Center and 3-week outpatient program. And the beauty of that program is you entered the program, other people were leaving the program. It wasn't like you were there with 30 other people just entering the program. There were 30 people in the program at any given time, but you were entering the program and there were people there that had been there for 2 weeks or 3 weeks and just leaving. And so what I got to see was success when I started the program, and seeing other people's success, seeing them move despite pain, seeing a guy come in a wheelchair and walk during the program was success. That motivated me. So it just, those kind of things that you see in that program, what I saw in that program motivated me to keep moving forward. So that success built upon the success for me. For me now, my success is more about the work that I do and helping people living with pain. And a couple recent things. I mean, one of the things I'm most excited about is I'm working on a book. So along with 1,000 other pain books that are out there, right? So, Joe, you kind of inspired me after the last meeting. So that is in the works. Also, I've been going to see a physical therapist personally for some issues. That physical therapist understands pain. He gets it. And he gets working with people living with pain, or just working with patients and working with those people. He doesn't see, a knee joint or whatever. He sees a person. and he understands pain. And we talk. My whole appointment is a conversation about pain. So I'm educating him, he's educating me, and we're just having a heck of a good time. But he is hosting a education program at his physical therapy office about pain. And I'm going to be part of that program as the person with lived experience and tell my story and the things that I've learned. So it's all good stuff. So those are the successful things that are happening right now for me, and just keep moving forward.
Good
One
stuff.
step at a time.
There you go. Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? So
Exactly.
it's kind of, I mean, it's amazing. Like, this is really good, and I think Bronnie was the one you said last time. Like, we need to focus in on the successes, because it's easy to drag yourself down, because there's a lot of challenges, and challenges are just opportunities for success to happen, right? I mean, it's in a Hallmark card and it's a bunch of crap, but at times it's real. So, and we have to take those opportunities, and so. Just this conversation as well has given me a chance to really take a step back, because I think we get a little too close into it every day and we don't see what's happening. So for me, a couple of things just to share that I'm seeing. I'm pretty proud of my little country. We're big geographically, small population wise. Second largest country in the world. We're 41 million people. You can swing many cats and not hit anybody in Canada. So, but Canada.
Not that we do. We don't. That's not our national sport. We don't swing
Right.
cats.
Oh, yeah, right. No, I never
Just
did
saying.
that. So,
That's the saying.
thanks, Sue. Yeah. I'm really pleased with the work that we did in the last 5 years, and we as a country, with development of the Health Canada, so our federal government health, an action plan for pain in Canada. It's a huge document, 6 goals, 152 recommendations, and it's really just it's an overarching document, and it's large, but it's comprehensive and it's detailed and direct. But just to drive the pain agenda forward for everywhere from people who live with pain, clinicians, healthcare providers, policymakers, the whole thing. And we've just gone through a process of sort of version 2 of that as they update it and make it sort of not relevant, but it's been 5 years in. This has had a massive impact on organizations across Canada. We've seen provincial organizations, pain advocacy organizations spring up as a result of this. We're seeing pain programs that are being developed that are less solely interventionally focused. And I am not anti-intervention. I just don't believe it's the only answer. And we're seeing these clinics now which are putting in pain education programs, and not, well, there's nothing, you got to wait to get your injection or your whatever, so you might as well take this, pain program. It's fundamental, it's baked in it. And we're seeing people say, as they go through the education, they're saying, you know what, I'm good. Actually, intervention not needed. I just needed to understand this chaos that my life had become. So that's amazing. On a bit of a personal level, I'm really pleased that my specialist, there's a few specialists with the disease that I have, mitochondrial disease in Canada. And he watches some of the work that I do in advocacy. And for a lot of these rare diseases that I have, like mitochondrial disease specifically, bunch of symptoms, one predominant symptom is pain. And I got all new pain with it. And over half of the people report pain with it. And he said there's a disconnect in his clinic when he sees this. So he's asked me if I will help him put together sort of resources and pain education for people, because he's very good at, he's a medical doctor and a geneticist, and he's very good at saying, this is it. But he understands that he doesn't know how to help them with their pain. And he wants to do something to do that. And I'm like, we're getting there. Like, we've got healthcare providers who say, I don't know this. I wasn't taught it in school, but I know there's a big gap missing. So they're going out on their own to close that gap. So,
but I love that they came to you. Like, they came to you. They didn't say, oh, I'll talk to a pain specialist. They said, hey, person with lived experience, help me. Like,
he tapped a couple of other allied health professionals, but he came to me because he said, I see the work that you do. You're very knowledgeable in this. You've been doing it for a long time. Can you help us put together like what this is? And so, I mean, any one of us could do it. I mean, it meant a lot to me that he reached out to me. But yeah, it just showed to me the respect. And we have such a great relationship. Like when I see him, I'm not seeing my doctor. We have a relationship and we talk about stuff. We talk about shit, Joe. And so I mean, but we're seeing that change in healthcare providers. So that's really good. And it just reminds me again, I've already said it, that I need to at times take a step back and stop sort of pushing at the big change because that big change is really hard. So we'll just work around it. We'll work from the outside. We'll have one-on-one interactions with doctors and others who say, I want to make change, and that's where we'll put our energy and our time, and it will come. So, yeah, success begets success.
I echo your comments about clinicians being more willing to ask, what does it mean? Or to admit, I don't know this. And I'm seeing that reflected in the number of students enrolled in our postgrad programs, where for many, many years we had very few medical practitioners. This year, half the class are medical practitioners.
Wow.
Now that makes some challenges for teaching because they have far less time and they've got a long history of the way that they learn. So I need to change the way, or I need to consider the way that I help them grapple with this really uncertain, ambiguous, complicated area of human experience. And I'm emphasizing those terms, ambiguity, complexity, humanness, because I think that's the bit that if we can do anything to change pain practice and the experiences for people who live with pain, it's for clinicians to be helped to see the person, not the cranky elbow or the wonky knee or the sore back, but actually the person who's coming to see them, who probably has lots of other things that are really important to them. Yes, pain, but they also want to be great parents and really good at work, and they want to be able to contribute just as we do. And if I can help those clinicians see that, that's amazing. So there is a more curiosity, I think, as clinicians are saying, well, what I learned isn't working. It's not, there are these people that I don't know how to help, and that they're saying, I want to learn more. That's really big, because prior to the last, 10, 15 years, there's been no, we just have to keep doing this one thing that we know how to do and do well. So that's a very cool thing. Yeah. One gap, and I just very quickly say this, one gap, what we don't know much about, and I know that Joe will agree this, is we do lots of work to help people who live with pain. What we don't know much about is when there's a peer-led group, what do peers do? What is it? What's the magic? Because there's lots of assumptions that the magic is about the content and the information, but we don't know that. I suspect it's not, because information is to behaviour change, as spaghetti is to a brick. However, so one of my master's students is looking at what do peers do in a support group, peer-led support group for people with CRPS. I think that's cool. So that's part of my aim, is to bring living experience, because I agree, Tom, we're not just lived, we're living this, to our students, because if the students start to do that as a research kind of area, then they learn a whole lot, and then that influences how they go out from thereafter. So yeah, we are having an impact. Let's keep doing it.
I love it. I love how well that ties into Tom's story about seeing someone get out of the wheelchair and walk. Like that was a peer, and just yeah. And there's also a thread throughout this sort of whole chat so far about planting a seed, And I was listening to a podcast recently, and it says, you don't plant a seed and then check on it every day. You plant it and you have to leave it, and you have to have some level of faith or trust or hope. And I remember I had a coach who always said, you might not be ready for this now, but hold on to it. So I've said that to the groups that I've chatted with, because when they go like, I'm like, well, okay, you might not be ready. It might not apply to you. Just think about it, hold on to it, and it might come back to you. And I think we've all sort of today told a bit of a story like that, right? Where there's something that has in the past has come to fruition. So those are hard though. Those are hard successes to see, like those are hard things to sort of know that they've happened unless someone actually tells you. Yeah, but I think whether or not we know that all the seeds we've planted are successes, to sort of hold on to that idea of keep planting seeds.
And not only planting seeds, nurturing those seeds and supporting those seeds, and
Yeah.
like the things I do with we do every day. And so nurturing those seeds, and because if you don't feed them, you don't water them, you don't fertilize them, they're not going to grow.
Right.
And so you gotta nurture. I just have to say, Pete, this has been a success. Just getting us all together to talk
There you
about
go.
success.
There
So
you go.
I
Yeah.
applaud you. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm up for that.
Absolutely.
The peer stuff, Bronnie, it's talking, communication. That's how it works. Peer-to-peer stuff, and having been involved with peer stuff, as I say, since the 80s, talking, listening to other people,
Validating.
meeting other people like me.
Mm.
That is the I don't want to say the magic, but I think it's probably the key. And
I think it's magic.
when we all met in Boston that time, I think I was talking to you, Joe, and I don't know. I got a bit tearful because after meeting you,
I remember that.
yeah, I'm not on my own because up
Yeah.
until then, I really felt I was like a one man band sort of thing, I don't want to be a one man band. I want to be with others, like, because that's how it works, sort of thing, like, And but I come away from there thinking, fuck, think fuck with that, I ain't on my own.
There it is.
Pete, I love that this is a community, and you're talking about nurturing the plants. When you put a seedling out, especially in the bush around New Zealand, you put a seedling out and it's sheltered and supported by all those others around them. And I think that's what this is. We have built a community of people who have different things to add, different roles to play, we look different, we do it differently, but as a community, I think it's going to be that much easier for new people to come in, like Katy, and say, "Hey, I'm not on my own."
Good timing. Good timing. Wow.
Awesome. So that community, that's what we're creating, or are continuing to create, because with community and connections, we have more power, but also we've got those little different ways, diversity, different ways of doing things. Each of us have got a different way that we do our advocacy. And that's really cool because we can shine. I love Katy's artwork. I just am loving that so much, Katy. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. Thank you.
And I sort of hi Katy, and she's
Hi,
been
Pete.
a quiz night. I think we're going to wrap up soon, but
I know. I just thought I'd spot
it's
in
fine.
for
No,
5 minutes.
no, it's okay. I think one of our successes, Keith, is the brand new self-management toolkit website that went live. Pretty much done now. Myself and Keith have been working on it. We're sort of co-managers of it, I suppose, for a better word. But I spoke to Scott, the website guy, and I don't know how they look at it, but apparently it's up here in one of the top 5 groups now of for self-management, So, but that's another for people with long-term conditions, really.
That's fun, Pete.
It's really that seems to have taken off, and so we're going to be posting news on there every day. But the most I think for next week, really, I don't know, you probably know, but next week is Pain Supported Self-Management Week 2026. So we're hoping that everybody will, Tom and everybody here, will be doing something.
Done you some doodles, Pete?
Yeah, doodles. Myself and Keith, we're going to be going live at 5. That won't be your time, Keith, but at 5 o'clock in the afternoon for me. So we're going live at 5 on Instagram, taking questions or just having a chat. Anybody who wants to come and join us, they can do. And and if you've got any, even listen, people say, well, what have I got to do? Hey, we're self-managers, work it out.
Hey, Pete, I can say that's another one of my successes since the last time we talked. I talked to you and Keith about my presentation for the conference, and you guys said I was on track. So that was a success.
There you go.
That's awesome.
There you go. Well, I know, Pete, you wrap it up here, and Katie, not to put you on the spot, but in just in a couple of minutes. So the theme here was success builds on success, because what we talk about is sometimes you can get a little down on some of this advocacy work and get a little beat up and tired. So we were just sharing successes, what success means to us, and what little successes Are you able to just share a little bit of a success from your side? I mean,
I had someone write a nice comment on my one of my pictures this week that said that made her really think about things, and I was like, that's all I want.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Like we can't overlook the and that's not very small. That's great, but we can't overlook the small wins, because small wins add up to big wins over time. So, and just
if
further,
it makes a if it makes a physio think, then maybe it makes her treat her patients a little bit different. So,
well, we got 1,000 analogies out there, right? It's dropping the pebble in the water, and the ripples go out over time, and like there's so much of this, and I think we get caught up sometimes looking for that immediate change, and that we lose sight of the change that is happening over time. And it's in the comments here, Tom. You said it. I think one of the most important things, and I would love to see the literature on it, because, like some of you, I'm just a great big nerd at heart. The relationships, like the strength and what comes from that relationship. Because I'm with you, Bronnie. I think when it comes to peer-to-peer, I think it's less about content and more about somebody who sits there and listens with intention and empathy and gets it.
Yeah.
So, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I'll never forget.
Sorry,
I'll never forget when we did when I used to do our retreats when we had our nonprofit, and a woman that had been living with chronic pain or persistent pain for over 30 years, and she just like sighed and said, like, this is the most intensely relaxing experience I've ever had. And I've never heard like intensely and relaxing paired together before. But we talked about it a bit, and it was like people's didn't have to put up their defenses, or didn't have to prove their pain, or didn't have to explain themselves in any way. And just being in a group of people that got it, and you didn't have to explain yourself to, just let everyone put their guard down and like just be. And I think that's a really unique thing that peer-to-peer support brings, that being in a clinical environment is really hard to achieve, because you're always kind of trying to figure out the clinical environment in addition to how to convey your pain, in addition to learning whatever you're being taught and all of that kind of stuff. So I think that relational piece is so important and is often missing in the literature, because a lot of the peer support stuff actually comes top down. It was developed without peers and then given to them.
What you will teach.
Yeah.
Right.
I find the same with facilitating a pain group, where I say, and I live with pain, and there's almost this visible, oh, you get it. And we need that. Now, how the researcher in me says, how do we measure that? I don't actually know that we need that. I just need that message that we get it. Maybe that's what people validation. I know Joe's written about this. I use your paper. I use a lot of Joe's stuff. But just to say, we believe you, we trust you, we're with you, we know that we're going to stand beside you, and you're okay. You're actually okay. We're not going to be suspicious.
Yeah.
What an amazing gift. And why on earth can't we keep doing that across? I'll get off that soapbox. Sorry.
A short commercial plug talking about peer-to-peer support. I have a a support group, Facebook support group called Chronic Pain Champions. No whining allowed. I have 3,400 members around the world. Check it out. Refer your patients and friends to it.
We'll
Thank
do.
you, Tom.
Good plug, Tom.
We do.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
And
Actually,
finally,
Keith, are you able to put your link to the talk that you guys were talking about in the chat, or
Which talk is that? Sorry.
I can't remember now. You and Pete
Okay.
just are doing it's not the one coming up, but it was something you just
Oh,
launched.
the live,
Instagram.
Oh, the website.
The website.
Instagram.
Yeah, the
Oh,
website.
the website. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
not the
Okay.
self-management one.
Yeah. I think another success that we've had today is that with Pete winning £7 and all the different money going to Swear
Yeah.
Jar, we probably each have enough for coffee. So
Uh,
that's also successful.
£7.30, Pete. Don't forget the 30.
On the lottery win, Pete.
Hey, listen, and before we go, me, myself, and Keith will, and I'm guessing 1 in 5 people around the world will really appreciate it. We, as we said, we got Supported Self-Management Week next week through Monday through Friday. But we're running the conference that you've all been in one way or another been involved with in the past. I know Joe is going to be one of our presenters, as other 5 other dudes. Or I can't remember everyone, but
It's late, Pete.
sorry,
It's late. You're not expected to remember everyone.
oh my
It
God,
is that coffee that we've just paid for, right?
not a gooner, I'm a goner. Anyway, what we got the conference on the 21st, so that will be like the end, a great finale to that week. And by the way, that's how these conversations started up from them conferences. You remember?
Yeah.
So if we would just to give us, if you could give us a final shove and promote the actual conference on your social media platforms, that'd be really nice.
Yep.
If you can do that a few times, because you know what it's like trying to get the messages out there. And Keith, can you just run through the speakers with me again?
Yeah, it's going to do it for you. Yeah. So, Dr. David Flusk, Canada's an anesthesiologist, a pain doc, great guy. Then we got Jim Stark. He's a physiotherapist out of the US. Super guy, met him in person, just a lovely human being, amazing.
Yeah.
Jennifer Daly-Sear, she's from Ottawa. She's a person who lives with pain and a fierce advocate, and one of my co-hosts on our podcast, Action on Pain. The incomparable Jo Belton is going to be there sharing her story. And after talking to Pete and I, we reluctantly agreed that we think she kind of got it right. So we're sure it's going to be okay. So, and then we've got, for many of you know, our dear friend Mary Wing from Australia. She's going to be jumping in there. Mary lives with pain. She does a lot of work in the advocacy space. She leads a peer support group. And then we are very fortunate to have Lorimer Mosley join us and wrap things up. So we've been fortunate every year. We've had just a stellar lineup. And, you know, Pete, it's interesting. I think every time we reach out to somebody, we're met with these enthusiastic yeses, not no thanks. So it's a real honor when people agree to join us. So.
Yeah. I appreciate it. We appreciate it, and
Absolutely.
you know, and as I said earlier on, supported self-management now is slowly becoming part of healthcare, general healthcare, and the conferences and other things. What everybody's doing, we're not even on the start line. We're off the start line now, and we're taking as you said, Tom, a step every day towards so it's a massive breakthrough. And with that, I was just sitting here thinking, what should we talk about next month? And I'm thinking, I think we should do part 2. Do this again, but part 2, because I don't think we've covered enough. Because as everybody was talking here, I'm thinking, that I know this is happening now, and there's about 2 or 3 other successes that's going on that I could mention, but I'm going to keep everybody in suspense.
I thought of another one too, Pete. So I'll keep everyone in suspense as
there,
well.
there you go. Oh, good Lord.
Dun,
Oh
I've
my
got an
goodness, sleep.
amazing one.
Yeah, so,
I'll have to think of one by next month.
to end, can we have a dramatic
Just write them
ending?
down.
No, can we have a dramatic ending? Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
To be continued.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh,
I'll
nice.
say a good night to everyone here, and good morning to wherever you're all. Good afternoon. We've got the Truman
Good
Show,
day.
isn't it? Good night, good night, good morning, good night, or good afternoon, good night.
There it is. Yeah.
So,
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
everyone.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye.
Nice to see you for a
Bye.
short while.
Thanks, Katie.
Good
Good
to
to
see
see
you,
you.
Katie.
Bye.
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 still care off is sounding like the Waltons.
Yes.
Hi,
Good night,
John Boy.
Susie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.